That's
Well, and
my
you've got an adult-themed podcast, not like
adult
pornographic.
That's what we've got. We're just sitting here doing our adult theme podcast. I mean, podcast.
Porncast. I like it.
Hey, watching with Dan and Tony. Hey, watching with Dan and Tony. It's Hey Watching, yeah.
Welcome to Hate Watching with Dan and Tony. I'm Dan.
I'm Tony.
And this is the show where we talk about movies that Tony doesn't get.
Mm-mm. Oh, good. I can't wait to talk about this. I get everything, and it's all stupid.
No, Tony.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
So, Tony, why don't you tell the people what?
So what we're
minor
watching?
Modern masterpiece.
Yeah, right.
Did we watch this week?
We watched a guy who made a thesis film and somehow got it sold, and he just used all of the things that he learned in film school but didn't actually know how to use them, and just threw in everything he could in the kitchen sink. It's called It Follows, the most pretentious art school horror film ever made.
I would say maybe more like perhaps one of the most beautiful, thoughtful horror movies ever made.
Incorrect. And I will tell you why both of those things are incorrect.
Why are both those things incorrect, Tony?
Well, the thoughtful, I think, is going to have to go over time. Beautiful is because none of the lighting in this movie makes sense. It's not practical lighting. There's a scene where they're out in the middle in the night, and there's a UFO beam of light coming down on a car. That's not artistic. That's fucking stupid. That is impossible in the real world. 100% that light comes from nowhere. There is no real world source that light could possibly come from. And then we cut to it the next day. There's a we're getting ahead of each other. The next day, there's a policeman in the same spot in daytime, and it's darker than it was at nighttime there. That's how stupid this movie is. The lighting is absolutely atrocious. It's so bad. And there's other things that make this movie awful as well. But the lighting is a huge, huge problem.
I only have one problem with this movie.
Oh, tell me what's your problem.
It is the most boring movie any human being has ever made.
It's super. So, okay. At least you know that it's boring.
Oh, no.
That is good.
I hated this movie. This movie is so terrible.
The pacing is awful, but it's funny to me because they say multiple times the monster. It walks very slowly, just like the movie. It's a fucking crawl.
I mean, what this movie has is a moderately interesting premise.
Agreed. I agree. The premise I actually thoroughly enjoy, and I think they just throw it away and pee all over it.
They take a big
very slow
dump, just a very slow motion, just coming right out. The old BM coming right out.
The old BM, gross. Body. Gross.
Yeah, this movie. Wow. I mean. It thinks it's directed by Terrence Malick, and
yep.
I thought it was good looking. I thought there was a lot of things in it that I thought were good looking.
It's not that it doesn't look good. It's that the things that look good don't make sense.
That doesn't matter.
It does, Dan. It matters so much to the world because if you are not in the real world, I don't care about your movie.
I mean, there's like one point where they're like in a car and, you can see that there's like a light, underneath there that's making it so we can see them.
At one point, Dan, they make love on the sun in the middle of the night in a car. Doesn't make any sense. Where is all that light coming from? 1, 2, why is the door open while you're having sex in your car? Why would you do that? Oh, I know why it is. It's so that the camera can see you. That's it.
That's just the first part. The door's closed.
The first part, the door is closed.
Then she opens the door because she needs some air. She needs to stretch out. Have you ever tried to stretch out in a car?
Yeah, but not in the backseat.
He's trying to mount her from behind, and she's gonna have her head and her legs and being properly mounted by the by the dude, it's gotta open the doors.
I mean, you got to properly mount. That's true. You're right. If you can't properly mount, the whole thing's a mess.
And I mean, there's like the one girl gets 2 monologues in the movie that like say nothing and
That make zero sense. And they're like, one of them's about like
how dangerous the city is.
how dangerous the city is, but are they even in the city? I mean, I guess kind of. I don't
No,
really
no.
know what the city
God,
looks
no.
like, but
They're not in
it
the
looks
city.
like suburbs.
They're in the dirty suburbs. They're not in the suburbs.
So it's so weird.
So it
I
follows.
just want to say, Dan,
Yeah.
guess how many pages of notes I have for this movie?
I have 1, 2, 3 and a half. Just about the fewest notes I've ever taken for a movie.
Yahtzee. I have 9 pages of notes, just over 9. That is 3 to 4 times the amount of notes I normally have.
How can you have 9 pages? Nothing happens in this movie.
Nothing happens in this movie, but I dissected every single frame because it's so stupid. And this guy thinks he's like the greatest filmmaker of all time. I hate him. I don't hate anyone else that made this movie. I hate the guy that directed it.
Yeah, I mean, the actors do a competent job for what they're trying to do.
Absolutely. None of them are at fault. I think
I
they're all
mean,
fine.
They don't bring any personality or any character or make you want to see them in anything else.
But to be fair, the script pretty bad. It's pretty like there aren't a lot of character in the script either. I would argue.
I mean, if a script is only 7 pages long and it's an hour and 40-minute movie, does that mean it's bad? It just means there's nothing there.
I guess that's true. It's incomplete. How about that?
It's inconsequential. The script is inconsequential to the movie.
Yeah.
Except in that the plot is terrible.
Yeah. But the premise I enjoy. And here's the thing. I think it's about 2 years after this, Supernatural does the exact same premise in one of their episodes. They fucking knock it out of the park. It is a great episode.
It sure. Well, okay. It follows, I think, 2015. I forgot to write down the
It's
year.
right around there. Yeah,
right around there.
Mid, yeah.
Hour and 40 minutes. We start with this sort of nakedish girl who sort of runs out the house, sort of runs back to the house, sort of runs back out of the house, sort of gets in a car, sort of drives to the beach, sort of parks her car, turns on the lights of the car, sits sort of nakedish on the beach, and then like cries or freaks out. Everyone, of course, is like, "What's going on with you? What's wrong with you?
That's the part that
What's
bothers
happening
me.
with you?"
Her dad is like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "I'm fine, Dad." But she's not. She's clearly not fine. Nobody would believe her when she said she's fine. She's running around in lingerie and high heels and like almost in tears the whole time. She's clearly not okay. No one would let her just go do her own thing.
She's having a psychotic break. Absolutely. Gets
Absolutely.
the car, drives away, hides on the beach in the wide open with the lights on her.
Yep.
Which once again,
just so that the thing can find her, you know.
Yeah.
And what it is, Dan, is that there are no lights at the beach. So they're like, well, just have her leave her car lights on. That's believable. No, it's not. It's not. It's stupid.
She calls her parents on the phone and tells them that she loves them. And then, boom, best thing probably in the whole movie is her dead body on the beach with her leg broken backwards.
And that's
creepy.
Awesome.
Very creepy.
However, that is the only cool death in the entire movie.
Wow, we'll talk about that.
We'll talk. Yeah, you're right. Just keep in mind that she's in like a weird pose. Her body's slightly mangled. And that's important because it never happens again.
And it doesn't, it sort of says something to us. Like, oh, this thing is going to break your legs backwards. It's going to be this whole process that goes
you
on.
Up. Yeah. But it doesn't. It doesn't.
But we never see that.
That's not what it does. That's not what the monster does the rest of the movie.
So we meet our protagonist, Jay. She's swimming in a pool, cleaning the pool. She's got a date.
She murders a bug. Did you notice that?
Did she murder an insect?
A bug lands on her arm, and then she slowly drops it into the water and then drowns it. Which is, like, I don't have a problem with it. I just don't understand why we're doing that. Why is that important to her character?
It's a metaphor.
For?
Nothing in this movie.
Okay. It's a metaphor that's important to you. I get it. All right.
No, what it
I
is um that's what they teach you when you're supposed to write. You know, you're supposed to have like these metaphors, and you're supposed to like, oh, you see, when you see a dog cross the street, that means you know, doing stuff or something. And so
doing stuff. Yeah.
I started watching that Everything All at Once All the Time,
Yes. Yep.
and it's a perfect movie. You know, you're
Yeah.
just like,
It's
oh my
awesome.
god, you're like, this is a movie everybody that thinks they're artistic should watch, and then
Yes.
say to themselves, oh,
Oh, I suck.
I'll just write like a story that makes sense, and not trying to write something that's complex. You know,
Sure. Yeah.
because I'm taking my writing class now, and you know, we're reading all this stuff, and people are talking about, oh, I want to have a thing where it takes place in all these different time periods, and you know, and Cloud Atlas and all this, and it's like, that's fine. Well, it's not fine. You shouldn't do that.
It's very hard to do that.
If you're good at it, you should do
Sure.
that.
Yes.
But it's just, yeah, it's incredibly hard.
It's really
know?
hard.
Most of us need to write in really straight linear fashion.
Yeah, relatively linear, guys. Let's keep it that way.
And this movie has to think of things to put in because they choose not to concentrate on the happening stuff, but they instead choose to concentrate on the giant gulfs before happening stuff. So instead of something happening, they'll show people driving on a road, not talking about all the stuff you need to talk about.
Yep.
And I think that there's a right mix of that. This thing,
Maybe.
it's all, you know, it's like making cookies, and you're just like, why did you just put flour in the oven? Maybe some eggs and some butter too, because we want cookies.
Now we've just got toasted flour. No one's gonna eat that shit.
Hot flour. Put hot flour in our mouth.
Spooning it in.
This movie's kind of hot flour in the mouth. You're just like, I'm not getting anything out of this.
No, you're not. No, sir.
So she's dead. So Jay drowns a bug, drowns an insect. And then we have like these two dirty boys who are like, they throw a ball at her at one point. They look at her, and you're like, in a normal movie, you're like, oh, this is setting up a thing. And later on in the movie, the little dirty boys looking in the window again. We're like, oh, this is going to come into play in some way that surprises us.
Yeah. But for some reason, it's some sort of red herring. I don't know what you're trying to do with it. I don't know. It doesn't come back. It has no consequence on the film whatsoever. Just like everything else in your movie, guy.
Now, have you seen interviews with this dude?
When I first saw it, I started reading stuff, and then I was so sick of his pretentious answers that I had to stop. Yeah.
So he thinks he's all that.
I don't know. Maybe as they come up, we can talk about the things I remember from what I read. But one of the big ones is that he believes that the movie is timeless because he doesn't put it in a time period.
Yeah, that's one of the things he does. Is you're like, at times you're like, oh, it's the 70s, and then you're like, but it's not.
Oh, she's got a cell phone.
She's got this weird. What about that cell phone? The one girl has this cell phone.
The shell phone. Yep, totally made up.
That's not a thing.
Nope, not a thing.
She's got a flip phone, but it's in like a pink shell.
Yep.
And at the first, she's like reading like a Bible verse in it.
Something like that. Something weird. I was Googled it.
I mean, you know that's not a thing.
Yeah. The shell phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's one thing. That's something that he made for this movie because he thought it was cool.
Oh.
I don't know what to tell you. So anyhow, he's like, yeah, we want the time period to be ambiguous because then the movie is timeless. But guess what, Jack? That doesn't make the movie timeless. It makes it not in time. It makes it irrelevant. It makes the whole movie nothing. If there is no time period, it never happened to me. All I do the whole time is I'm like, well, why is that there? Because that TV looks like it's from the 50s.
Yeah.
And then this TV looks like it's from the 70s. And then he's got a cell phone. And then she calls the guy. And it's clearly a cell phone because he wouldn't, on a landline with his parents, he wouldn't say his own name. He was like, hey, this is Bob. Talk to me. Nope. They would be like, this is the Johnsons. Talk to us. So he has a cell phone. I don't know what's going on, but she's calling from a landline. It's just the whole time it makes me think, what the fuck is going on, guy? I don't know if you felt that way.
I never felt that way. I mean, I kind of questioned it at one point, but in some ways, I could see that being an interesting conceit to explore. right? Because then you're like, well, you could just solve this problem if you had a cell phone. And I didn't have a lot of those thoughts in the movie, but that maybe it was because none of the characters ever tried to solve any problem.
I mean, that would do it. That's one way to get around that, right? Just don't have them solve problems. And then you don't even have to think about it. It's fine.
Yeah. So she goes inside, and then there's like two girls, and the mom, I guess the mom's an alcoholic. Did they say that at one point about alcohol?
There's not that I remember, but there's a ton of things where they think they're being clever and like just hiding little secrets, for deeper knowledge, but nobody gives a shit. It doesn't mean anything for the movie. So yeah, I believe she is. And then
I mean, did they
the
say
father will
something
come up
about
later
it?
too. Not that I recall. No.
So then there's a dude who has a name. What's that dude's name? I gotta find his name. Paul, I think.
I'm sorry, Paul, is it?
Is that his
That's a
name?
Friends quote. By the way.
His name is Paul.
I don't write down names. I don't know.
Greg is the next door neighbor dude.
Okay.
And then there's two girls.
Cool guy, quote unquote.
Her sister, who's kind of cute, and the sister with the shell phone with the glasses. I think they're three sisters, right?
I don't know if the third one's a sister. The one with the shell phone. I don't know if that's a sister.
It almost felt like they were all like foster kids.
Yeah, I can.
That's what it felt
see that.
like.
I don't believe that to be the case because the pictures on the wall only have the two girls, and then the parents.
Okay, so who knows who this other girl is? She must just be a weird friend.
Yeah, I don't know.
So the glasses girl farts.
Wait, Dan, I was going to ask you. You just dropped that so casually. I was going to ask you if you enjoyed this hilarious joke because you love your fart jokes.
I thought it was nice. I thought it was good. She's like, what does she do? She goes like that.
This was the line. This was the line. She goes, "Oh, I have an idea. Oh, it got away from me," and then farts. And that was the idea leaving her body. And I thought you'd probably like, it's not funny. It's stupid. I hate you.
It's stupid. I mean, but that felt real. You're like, this is a thing that someone would do. Yeah. What are you talking about?
Not in my house.
Oh, this is not funny enough for me. Oh, Jerry Seinfeld. Oh.
Jerry Seinfeld. My bar. You have to be Jerry Seinfeld or don't even try.
So they go on a date. She goes on a date with her boyfriend, little scruffy dude. And they go see a movie, and then
Dan.
What?
When she's in the pool and the sister is asking if she's going on a date, she's like, "Yeah, with who?" And then she goes, "That guy." What guy? What guy?
Does she really say that guy?
She doesn't say his name. She just goes, "That guy." I don't like that conversation. It doesn't set up his character to me at all.
Well, that's because nobody has character in this movie.
Well, you're right, but I need to complain about it. You can't just blanket be like, well, that's because the movie didn't do it. I know it didn't do it. We got to point it out for people. Because this movie's bad. This movie's bad. Just saying it right to their faces.
Just to get out of the way, none of the characters have any character except very surfacey things, which is that the nerdy kid is in love with the stupid blonde girl. And okay. So they play the trade game where they're like, pick somebody out and that you'd want to trade places with. And then the dude picks a little boy because he's like, he's got his whole life in front of him. And she picks, I don't know who she picked.
She picked some guy with a cute girl. And because she was like, oh, would you want to be him with the better looking girl? And my response is yes. But his was no, I want to be a tiny child.
No. But what then? She in the second part, she picks somebody in the movie theater which she wishes she was.
Oh, does she? I stopped paying attention.
Tony, this is your movie. You wrote 9 pages of notes.
I wrote 9. I was probably writing more pages of notes during that.
So then she's walking home with the sister. Oh, and then he gets scared because there's a girl in a yellow dress, and she can't see the girl in the yellow dress, and so they run out of the movie theater.
Dan, I remember what I was writing down.
What were you writing down?
I'll keep it brief because I've already talked about the lighting, but there is another spotlight on just those two in an entire movie theater.
Oh.
That's it. Everyone else is dark. They're light. That's not how lights work, guys.
Well, maybe this whole movie's like it's maybe.
A bad movie.
Well, no, it's more like
Yeah.
maybe like they are the only ones that exist in this pocket universe.
That's Dan. If that was what they were doing, I would love it. It's not what they're doing. They
Could
don't know
be.
how to light things.
You
They
don't
think
know.
that they're being clever, but
You
instead they're
don't
just
know.
making up light sources that can't exist in the world.
And then she's walking with the sister, or somebody's walking with her sister. Maybe the sister's just walking. I don't remember. And then we sort of see the
Wait, what?
sister's hot for the station wagon guy, Greg. She looks across the street, and you're like, she gets like a.
Oh, they stole this shot from Halloween. So it's the two girls and a tracking shot from the front walking down the suburbs, which is like a shot-for-shot recreation of Halloween, the original.
Was it
John
the
Carpenter's Halloween.
Was it the cuter sister and the girl with the glasses? Is that who it was?
No, it's the main girl and the
It's
sister.
the main girl. So
Yeah.
how did she? That's weird. Okay, well,
Because
whatever. But
yeah, it
we
doesn't
set up a tension that the non-star sister has a thing for the Greg, and then that never comes back.
And then we don't deal with it, even though the main girl sleeps with him. Great. So shouldn't the one that seems to like him be a little bit jealous? Or maybe there's a confrontation and then he gets murdered and she doesn't seem to care. Why? Why even set it up, Dan? Why even set it up?
I don't know. Maybe the script changed over time, and
Maybe the script changed over time and they just were like, well, it'll be fine.
So then they're in the car, and it's at night.
This is the first of many, 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 many times that they use some toy. I don't know what they're using, but they do a full 360 tracking shot. I don't know if you notice this, but there's a lot of free spinning of the camera to go from like set A all the way around 360 back to set A, and something's changed. They must have like rented some toy, and the director was like, we should use this a bunch because this is a cool shot. It happens 4 or 5 times in the movie, and that's too many times. It's too many times to do the same thing. But this is the first one.
So they're making out, then they have car sex, and then he's going to the trunk to get something, and then she's laid out, doors open, and then he comes to mount her, but instead of mounting her for loving, he mounts her to chloroform her.
Which, again, very scary.
And while he's doing this, she monologues about something which I did not write down.
It doesn't matter. She's talking about like the future and life and just a bunch of nonsense that is inconsequential. It's inconsequential is what it is. It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. But just the scene, the idea of the scene to me is very scary, that like you're in the middle of the woods and all of a sudden the guy that you just hooked up with fucking chloroforms you. That's very scary. That's a scary moment. It's not done well in the movie, but it's very scary.
So she wakes up. She's tied to a wheelchair. He's got a flashlight, which he's flashlighting around for an unknowable reason.
Flashlighting.
He apologizes to her, and then he lays out the entirety of what this movie's going to be about so that we understand exactly what has to happen, how everything works in the movie.
Well, except for he's wrong on a couple of points.
Oh, well, basically he says, what happened is I've had sex with you. Now this monster is going to follow you. If you have sex with somebody else, which should be easy because you're a girl, then the monster is going to follow them. And then when the monster kills that person, then they're going to come back and kill you. Then they're going to kill me. So,
yeah.
The
very basic rules. Yes, they lay that out. One thing that he says.
Oh, what does he say? What does he say?
One thing that he says is that the monster is very slow,
yes,
but it's always walking towards you.
Yeah.
That is incorrect.
What do you mean?
There are several times in this movie where the monster is standing still. At one point, the monster, for whatever reason, climbs up onto the roof and is just staring at her as they drive away, as if, because it's a scary shot, sure, it's like a cool shot, but you can't tell me that the monster's always walking towards her, but instead of doing that, he's like, you know what, I'm going to climb up on the roof now, go out of my way, climb up on the roof, and then stand there menacingly. That's against the rules. It's your rules. It's against them.
But he also says it's smart.
Yes, he does say it's smart. And I
think
that they sort of pay that off at the end. Otherwise, I would have lost my shit.
He says it's smart. So it's like if you're in the second story of a building and he walks up to the wall, is he just going to like twirl around below you because he has to walk towards you?
Earlier in the movie, he just comes to the door. He comes through her door the first time that he comes to the window.
Yeah, but if you're above me, I can't walk
I'm just
towards
saying,
you.
man.
If
I'm
you're
just saying.
if you're on a floor above me, I can't walk towards you.
Right, but then he goes past her to go onto the roof. Just go up the stairs.
Yeah, so he makes choices. Maybe he was getting on the roof to like creep in.
Creep in, man.
Yeah, I think you got that wrong.
I did not get that wrong. If you tell me he's always moving towards you, but he's not moving towards you, you're wrong. It's wrong.
I think that's a you thing, Tony.
That is not a you. It is the choice of words. If you say he's always walking towards you, and then he's not, that's not true.
Yeah, but that just means like if you go 20 feet that way, he's going to keep walking towards you. And then if you go 20 feet that way, he's going to walk towards you.
But he didn't. That's my point. He stood still. He stood still, watched him drive away.
Wait. Oh, because he's smart. He understands that a car can move.
But then he should be moving. That's the whole point. No, don't pretend the rules don't matter. If you tell me it's a rule, it better be a fucking rule.
But he's also smart. So if he's smart, he doesn't have to follow the rules absolutely.
That doesn't make any sense. If he's smart, he would follow all the rules. So you would just have better rules.
What are you talking about? This dude is this dude's an idiot, and he's just laying out the basic idea. It's always coming towards you.
How about this? It takes
we'll change that line. He's always coming for you. There you go. You happy now?
I would be happy because it's your rule. You get to choose the words. You wrote it. Don't give me false words. How about this,
that's the thing. Hold on. It's a dude explaining the rules to him. That dude is an idiot dude. He's not like
we're talking.
It's not like God on the mount going, these are the rules. It's like a dumb guy saying, these are the rules.
100%. So they're giving it to an unreliable source. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I'm okay with that. But those are the only rules we have. So now, if that rule's not true, which rules are also not true?
It's not that it's not true. Dan, it's just a little fudgy.
Exactly. It's fudgy. So what are the rules? I don't know. I don't know what the rules are. You don't know what the rules are. They don't know what the rules are. The monster doesn't know what the rules are. No one knows what the rules are.
Well, yeah. I mean, we live in a non-static universe. There are no rules in life and existence.
I agree with you in life and existence. There absolutely are rules in horror movies. There are 100% rules that need to be laid out. There's a whole movie about it. It's called Scream. There's a whole segment about laying out the rules.
It's like Junior Mints, right?
I don't know. What?
Like Junior Mints.
Junior Mints.
You think about Junior Mints.
I'm listening.
You think about Junior Mints, you're like, those are terrible. But sometimes you're there and there's some Junior Mints and you're like, I got to have candy.
In a while.
And you're like, oh, okay, I'll eat a couple more.
I'll eat a couple of Junior Mints.
You know, life is flexible, Tony. Let the monster be a little flexible.
Right. Okay, we'll cover this. Let's pretend that that's okay, that he didn't move right away when they said he moves right away. It takes them one day to get to the farm that they go to later, right?
How do you know?
The monster shows up.
You don't know that in this movie.
That is correct. I don't know that. But what I do know is that the monster shows up pretty soon after they're there because they are only gone for one night because the guy says that his mom isn't going to notice him gone for one night. Again, it's a line that you wrote, so I'm taking it as it is. So the monster's there in one day, and then the next scene, they leave, and they come back, and they're like, it's been 3 days, no monster. Where is it?
Well, maybe it got caught in a culvert.
It got caught in a culvert. What are you talking about? It's supposed to be moving after them all the time. She was in the hospital for 3 days. She's dead.
Stuck in a culvert and has to figure her way out.
I can't get out.
Okay.
All right.
Slow but not dumb. Always have an exit plan. Make sure there's always an exit from any place you go in.
Two exits,
which she never does. Never does that once in this entire movie.
Not at all. She, in fact, purposely goes to places she knows only has one. It's very strange.
Don't let it touch you. I don't know what that one means.
Well, not only do I know what it means, but it grabs her hair later and nothing happens.
You can't talk about that scene.
Oh, I can't? Not yet? We have to wait? Okay, because
Yeah.
okay.
We got to do a half an hour on that scene.
All right. All right, here we go.
Sisters are playing cards, and then the guy just like dumps her body like out of the car. That was kind of a nice scene.
It was a nice
Very,
scene
very weird and
until
creepy.
her friends didn't run over right away. Like
Oh, they
she's
didn't run
laying
over.
in the middle of the street, he peels out, and they kind of stand there and look for a minute until she comes towards them, and then they're like, "Oh, you're in trouble."
They're not
They- I-
surprised.
I promise you what happened is that he wanted a shot of her butt in that lingerie because that's what you get. You get a close up of her butt with them in the background as she walks towards them, and then they run towards her. That's all he wanted. The sick son of a bitch.
They call the police. She's in
Why
the
is the
hospital.
monster always naked, Dan? That's another one
It's
I want to
not
talk
all-
about.
well, we can talk about that. We'll talk about
Do you
that.
know the reason?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, we'll talk about it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant now. I didn't know. I didn't know you had a plan.
Every time you see the monster, he's embodying one of the people that he's killed. in the
Is he
past.
though?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Because
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
end, he's embodying her dad.
Well, he can embody anything, but most of the creepy ones are him.
Look at
him-
these ambiguous rules, Dan. Drives me crazy.
Oh, does he
I'm not
embody-
saying you're wrong. I agree with what you're saying. I'm saying that it feels like there are no actual rules to the monster, and I don't like it. But I agree with what you're saying.
They call the police. She's in the hospital. A lot of people end up in the hospital, and we never talk about their insurance. Just saying.
It would
No.
be nice to talk about insurance.
Just a little
I
bit.
get it. Yeah. I mean, it's very expensive.
One of my favorite scenes of the movie is the cops go out to where that thing happened, and they're like, their car's parked there, and they're like, and the wheelchair's parked there, and they're like,
And that's the scene that they're lit dimly, even though it's the middle of the day. And then the night before, it was a bright light, bright as the sun, straight on them. UFO.
So Jay's home. She's broken. Pervy boy looking in the window. It's kind of harsh. She goes back to school. Class is boring. And then she sees the monster and she starts freaking out. And it gets a good look at old lady. Looks like an old lady, I guess.
Yeah. So this is, I have a couple things to say on this, Dan.
Yeah.
First of all, the card game that they're playing the night before this happens, the girls outside, is
Yeah.
Old Maid.
Oh, yeah, they're playing an old
And
maid,
it's
yeah.
supposed to signify the monster coming as an old maid in this scene at the school.
What?
That's what he says. That's what he said. He's like, what
Oh.
a cool little
So
thing that I did. Means nothing.
Here's foreshadowing. It's called foreshadowing.
Sure, it's called foreshadowing.
It's also called
But
an
why?
Easter egg.
It's not an Easter egg because no one gives a shit.
No,
Okay,
people
because
that
it has
like
no
Easter
bearing.
eggs give a shit.
But it has no bearing on the movie. It's not.
Well,
It's not a nod to the audience. It's not like we have an old maid in another movie that someone made that we love, and he's like, "Well, but I put the old maid in this movie too, guys." That's an Easter egg. Them playing old maid and then old maid showing up. That never happens again. What does it mean? Who cares? Why is it there? Drives me crazy. This guy drives me up a wall. I hate him. But the other thing I want to say, Dan, is that I strongly believe that this is also stolen straight from Halloween, where she is in class and looks out the window and the monster's there, because that happens in Halloween as well. I feel like he stole a lot of stuff from Mr. John Carpenter, and Mr. John Carpenter would like it back. As John Carpenter's attorney, I'm going to tell you to remove it from your film.
They go get some ice cream. She tells the sister and also tells Paul. And Paul's like, I will stay up and watch over you in the night. And then she's all like,
Now, Dan,
she's kind of creeped out by that.
she should be kind of creeped out because this guy is thirsty,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
here's the thing.
Yeah.
If I had a life or death situation and
Sure.
and Paul was like, I'll protect you,
Yeah.
I'm not going to believe him because
Why?
he's not the protecting kind of type. You
What
know,
does that mean? He does that the
he's
whole movie.
tiny. He's going to get torn in half immediately.
Oh,
He
so you're
won't be
saying-
able to do anything. He's pathetic. I'm just going to say it, call it as it is. He's a little wimp. All right. I would not feel safe with him downstairs watching nothing.
So she can't sleep, so she goes out there, and then she's like on the opposite end of the couch. She's sort of putting her, she's sort of pulling on the doing the full tease. She's like
Yep.
teasing him,
Yep.
and then he's sort of doing a hitting on her, and then he's like, "You're my first kiss. I love you, Jay." Doesn't say that, but that's
Love
it.
you, Jay.
And then there's a broken window, and then Pee-Pee Girl is in the kitchen.
Yeah, what?
There's a girl
Why?
peeing in the kitchen.
No, I know. I'm saying why? Why is she peeing?
I kind of wanted to know if that pee was still there later.
That's a great, Dan, because the rules don't make any sense. So you don't know if there's any corporeal sense to this thing at all. But it can touch physical objects.
I was hoping that they go back there and, check for pee, but they never do.
But maybe she's the only one that would be able to see the pee,
And then it
That would
turns
be
into a
interesting.
big scary guy, and then the big scary guy disappears, and then she runs upstairs, and then the girls come in, and then he appears again, and then she runs away, and then she flees on a bike, and then she flees on a bike just till she gets a few blocks away, and then she sits on swings.
Now, Dan.
This annoyed me a little bit.
Oh, why don't you talk about it? I feel like I've been talking a lot. What happened?
The thing this movie does is the people run away until they choose not to run away, and then they literally
Stop.
just stake themselves out
Stop.
in a location to be attacked. They never
Like what?
they
What do you
never
think you've
go
accomplished?
they never pull out a calculator and go, okay, I'm 16 miles away from where
Yes.
I am. A person walking at this speed, I have 2 hours to sleep. They never
You
do
hit
that.
one of my two biggest problems with the movie. One, nobody ever does any math. If you have a monster that's continuously chasing you, just do some basic math. You can figure out where it's going to be, when it's going to be there. You could run away from this thing forever, guys. It's ridiculous.
I mean, it's really kind of true. It's like you would do a little bit of math. You'd really
Why
have to
would
at a
you
certain
not?
point.
Why would you not? I don't know. But I mean, more specifically to your point, you can't just run away a little bit and then stop. The thing doesn't get bored. Like, it's supposed to always be coming for you. So just don't stop. Don't stop for an extended period of time. It's stupid.
Yeah, it was a little absurd. Okay. Pee-Pee Girl, broken window, flee on bike. Then everyone catches up with her, and then they're like, okay, let's find the dude to ask him more questions. Paul's ready to help him out. They go to this house, and I guess he secretly rented this house with cash. The house is like literally like if your boyfriend lived in this house, you would just be like, no, you're not my boyfriend. Because if he swung by the house in his car, is like, yeah, that's my house, but I'm embarrassed for you to see it. You'd be like, yeah,
And
relationship over.
She says, I know where he lives, but he's embarrassed and doesn't want me to come over, right? So
It's classic. The one of the few times in this movie there they do the classic Dan Gutzel line, which is like a great line, but this house was too messed up.
You could you could be a block away and be like, well, yeah, I know that house is abandoned. No one's been there for 50 years. Nobody lives there.
No, I mean there were like 6 houses in a row that were abandoned.
That's
This was
whole
like
block, guys.
if you ever saw The Wire, they used to put the dead bodies in the boarded up houses. It was one of those houses. You're like, I ain't going in that house. There's a body in there, and it's,
for sure. Yeah,
I mean, it would have just been just as easy to like have him like renting a room, and they're like, oh, there's his room, and he just never came
100%.
back.
Yep.
And it would make a lot of
Great.
sense, and you'd actually
there's
have
nothing in this movie that makes sense.
You'd have a character that could deliver some lines of information about the kid. You're like, oh yeah, he only paid cash and he disappeared
Right.
as soon as
It's
he
like,
had sex with
that's
you.
mysterious. Oh, okay. Yep.
So
yep.
they go in there and he's got like can alarms on the windows, which you're like, oh, someone's going to do that at one point. They actually did do that at one point. One of the few,
did they?
one
I
of
don't
few
even remember
payoffs.
that.
Yeah, when they go to the house on the lake.
Oh, the cabin.
She immediately starts putting up the cans.
Yeah.
Do the cans are the cans ever any use in the movie?
No,
of course not.
but that's
That
okay.
was crazy.
Hey, they did it. That's good for them.
They actually did something, and then they find some pills. They find creepy escape hole, and then they find nudie magazines, and I mean, here's my thing. I didn't think about this when I was watching the movie.
Okay.
You would not want to be wasting that seed.
No, because you got to spread it. You got to spread it, bro.
You'd
You
wanna
got to
be-
get it out there.
You want to be making sure you have seed aplenty, right? You would not have a stack of Moody magazines there.
Now, Dan, are you passing this thing on? Let's talk. Let's get down to brass tacks. You've got the disease. You've got it follows. Are you passing it on? What are you doing? It's tough. It's a tough call.
Well, that's what somebody was saying. They were saying, if they made it part 2, it'd be like chasing it down the line, right? Well,
Yes. Yeah.
First of all, I'm going to go get a bunch of genetic tests. That's first of all. I would,
Interesting.
it's
That's
like,
smart.
what are you going to do? You're telling me I've got like this venereal disease that is
Yeah.
tied to a monster. Well, I'm going to try to figure out how this monster is following me. It's
That's
probably
great.
following me with like pheromones or something. If it's like, from hell, well, you're dead, right?
It's nothing you can do.
But I mean, what you do is you'd become like a long range trucker, and then you just sleep with prostitutes all the time. And I mean, that would be terrible. But
Whoa, you're just gonna kill prostitutes? Oh boy.
no,
Oh,
we're
boy.
going to spread it so far and wide, this thing's not going to know where to go.
I actually have questions on that. Can you pass it on more than once?
Of course you can't. I had this argument with Shannon. She's all
Okay.
like, well, you have sex with a bunch of people. And well, actually, no, you can't. I guess you just have sex with one prostitute. But you have sex with a prostitute every week, right?
Sure.
Just to make sure you're good.
Well, yeah, no, that's the only reason I'm doing it too. Let's just be clear. If I'm a trucker, I'm only doing it because of it follows.
Yeah.
I don't know, because that rule doesn't. I get confused by that as well.
I mean,
Because
truthfully,
he
I
still
wouldn't do
sees
it. Actually, I wouldn't have sex. I wouldn't do that at all. I wouldn't do that
Yeah.
to someone else. I would do all the fun stuff that you would do, which is try and encase it in concrete. That's number
Oh,
one.
nice. Love
Number
that.
one. I really thought at the end when they were going to the pool, I'm like, they're going to get it in the pool and they're going to encase it in concrete.
That's
That's
a
what
great
you always
move,
do.
Dan. That's a great move. Let me tell you what I thought was going to happen is I thought that they were going to do some sort of variation on a tar and feather so you can see the damn thing.
Step
They
one.
just let it go. They just let it go invisible all the time. Why are you doing that?
They put a sheet on it at one point.
At the very end,
Yeah.
and why did they have that sheet? I have no idea. But there's one way into that place. There's the door. You know where he's coming to. Just put something there that'll put some paint, maybe drip some paint on him. I think they do
chocolate fountain.
chocolate fountain, so that way if you're getting eaten, it's delicious either way. I don't understand why you don't make him visible. You know how to do it.
If you're a hunter, you know what you want to do. You want to understand your prey.
Yeah, 100%.
And they don't ever spend any time understanding their prey.
No.
And that's the whole thing.
No,
You gotta, did you ever watch the new Predator?
No.
You're an idiot.
I agree. It's harsh.
Sorry.
I didn't say you were wrong.
That's the whole thing about the new Predators. Like each step of the way, learning the, and then you turn the tables on the monster, and then you fail, and that's the horror monster.
Yeah, and it's
pulls
like,
out a new rule
shoot.
and gets you.
Yep.
There you go. But at least you put the old college try in. Their college try, which we're going to talk about, is the worst college try of any college try ever.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
Pretty dumb.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So we put up the cans, we're on the lake, then we're playing some Parcheesi.
Is that really what they're playing? I didn't notice.
Well, there's Parcheesi out, so I'm like, they're gonna play
Okay.
Parcheesi
All right.
Lady, which is
All
more of the timelessness, Parcheesi, an old lady.
Yeah, but it really adds a lot to the movie.
Also, the couple of times they're watching movies, they're watching old 50s black and white science fiction
Yep.
movies, which is like, I mean, I know
Why?
about rights, but because that's all you can afford to buy. But
Oh, you think it's because they're free use or whatever? Is that the right term?
Isn't there other stuff that you can get that's not
There
just
there
bad science
has to
fiction
be,
movies?
Dan. I see it all the time. It's fine.
Neighbor dude goes out into the boathouse, gets a gun, which is like crazy to leave that gun out there. It's a very expensive gun, I would have to
Is
assume.
it? Yeah, it looks nice. Big old 6-shooter.
Now they're drinking sodas by the lake. Paul's sitting at her being all thirsty. Oh no, Paul says, I'm here, available.
Pass it on, girl.
Points
That's what
to
he's
the,
saying.
available.
It's my D.
And then we see the fake sister coming down the road, and we're like, oh, here it comes. The best scene in the movie. What is the best scene in the movie, Tony?
I guess I don't know because I disagree, but
When they tie some fishing line to her hair, and then pull the hair up like the monster is pulling her hair.
But now, so Dan, why? Why?
Oh, because they wanted to show us that the monster was invisible, and this was their special effects budget. One piece of fishing wire on her hair.
Let me rephrase
just literally
the why.
The dumbest looking scene ever. You're just like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing
I know why they did it as the filmmakers.
Yeah.
I'm saying, why would the monster just grab a handful of hair? This monster snuck up on its prey.
Yeah.
Had a clear shot to just grab her throat and tear it out, but instead just lifts her hair. Doesn't even pull it. He's not lifting her by the hair. Just gently lifts the hair, and they're like, "Well, that's weird. What is happening? Wait, this thing's supposed to kill her."
She's being casually assaulted by an invisible monster.
Just wanted to smell her hair a little. Oh, this is good. It's so stupid. It looks absolutely ridiculous.
It was. They should have figured something. You see that shot, you're like, oh shit, we can't get back to that beach. I guess we're stuck with it.
Oh shit.
So then they start. They hit it with Paul hits it with a chair and gets hit with the chair. We have this thing where people point and shoot guns at the monster when there are people standing directly behind it that they can see.
Yep.
And at a certain point, one of the characters gets shot by the thing because the monster is always,
for sure not where he's aiming, by the way. But yeah, she gets shot in the leg, even though he's aiming at the monster's face 5 feet in front of him. I'm sure that makes sense somehow, guys.
And then they run into the boathouse, and then it gets shot, and then it's knocking, and then they kicks a hole in the door, and then it crawls in the hole, but it crawls in the hole like a minute after it kicks the hole in, as opposed to immediately.
Yeah. Well, because it kicks the hole in and then leaves. I don't know where it goes, but then Greg, is his name Greg?
Greg comes
over and he's like, "Why'd you guys kick a hole in my door?" And they're like, "We didn't do it." This is so dumb. It's so dumb.
And then we think, oh, they're trapped in the boathouse, and then there's just another door to the boathouse, and they just leave.
Okay.
Then they're running. She's running away. She gets in the car and just drives away from all of them.
Just leaves all her friends for absolutely no reason.
And then
it's a super dick move.
Then immediately crashes the car
into a wheat field. She's fine.
Very hard wheat field. Very hard.
It's brick wheat. I don't know if you've ever heard of that strand, but it's very tough. Ridiculous. She breaks something. Her head's all messed up. She goes to the hospital for 3 days because she drove into a wheat field.
She broke her arm driving into a wheat field.
Yeah, sorry, guys. That didn't happen.
And this movie's not timeless because there are no airbags on the car. So.
That's what I was just thinking about that. I was like, why didn't the airbags go off? I don't know when we are.
Because it's timeless.
It's not timeless. It's out of time. There's a difference.
So we're in the hospital. She's scared all the time, but all the weird friends and everybody's hanging out. And then Paul sleeps with her.
No, Greg sleeps with her.
I know. I thought Paul slept with her. Could you tell?
I couldn't tell. I knew because I'd seen it before. There's no clear shot of what's even happening. They just, again, they do the spinny thing. I don't know if you remember. This is a 360 shot where it goes around. There's a nurse flirting with a doctor. There's someone doing surgery in another wing. It's, why would you spend all this money on these extras that don't matter? And then it goes to them laying somewhere and fucking. It's so
if you spend money on those extras, then you can't go back to the beach and make a better shot than the hair shot.
We had to make choices, and we went with extras flirting.
So it turns out that Greg, the neighbor, has had sex with her.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I don't think it's coming.
Yeah. So why?
An invisible monster that you can't shoot. And he's all like, Nah, no such
It's
thing.
fine. It's fine.
I guess maybe he didn't see it. I guess he didn't see the invisible
Well, he
monster.
didn't. That's why he thought that they broke down the door. But then I don't know where he went after that when it came through the door the next time, which is very confusing. But let's just for a second, if you don't believe the thing, why are you having sex with her other than just, to have sex with her, which is, if that's his answer, I'm okay with it.
I think you answered your question.
Okay. I'll buy it because that's like, he seemed like he was into it.
So she gets home, she goes for a pool swim, and now we have a series of scenes where a person with a cast on their arm goes into water.
Yep. Constantly. Just all the time.
Talk
That's
to
really
me-
bad for your cast.
Talk to me about taking your cast into water, Tony.
Well, it ruins the cast. It makes it mushy. It's the opposite of what a cast does.
Shannon seemed to think that it would
Oh.
expand and you'd have to get it off because it would start constricting your arm. That's her thought. That's what she said.
Oh.
And Shannon's
Listen.
pretty smart.
Shannon is very smart. She's way smarter than me. Let's be clear about that. I've also, knock on wood, never broken a bone, so I've never worn a cast before.
Ooh, I'm Tony.
Thank you,
I'm
thank
fucking
you.
Mr. Invincible.
Well, no, I just am very cautious. I'm a chicken shit.
Coward.
So I don't know for sure, but I know that it's a no-no. I know that when you shower, you have to bag it so that you don't get it wet. So you can't do it. You can't get them wet.
But maybe
That's
this
all
is
I know.
one of those timeless casts that's unaffected.
Timeless cast. This is a future cast.
Now, I gotta ask you a question, Tony.
Oh, please ask me
I
a
was
question.
talking with my wife about this,
Okay.
and I'm writing a story about artificial intelligence,
Love it.
and all these stupid people are always like, if we have artificial intelligence, the artificial intelligence is gonna destroy humanity, kill humanity, because it's gonna be angry and it's going to be like, oh, human beings are going to use the resources and I'm a
Sure.
robot. I need the resources. So my decision-making process is to kill all the humans.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. I'm with you.
I'm not going to do my whole Dan Goodsell argument why that's such a bunch of bullshit.
Okay.
But I was talking to Shannon and I was like, it's not like everybody's sentient creatures are always just ruled by fear. And she's like, I'm ruled by fear. And I'm like, even though she says that, I don't believe it.
I don't think you know. Uh-huh.
And I mean, certainly a lot of the choices in life you make are based on fear.
Sure.
But are most of the choices you make in life based on fear? I'm talking to
Oh,
Tony.
You're asking me?
Tony.
No. To be honest, so what I think there's a difference between me not doing something out of fear and me not doing something because it's stupid. It's not fear. Like if I had to do it, I'd be like, fine, I'll do it, but I'm probably going to die.
So wait, so you run the way so if you were to characterize your life, you do stuff because you don't want to do things that are stupid?
Yeah, because it's dumb. Why would I want to do that? And people are like, oh, what are you scared? It's like, no, I'm not scared. That's fucking stupid. What am I going to, okay, so let's take, this happened recently.
You're not afraid of jumping out of the plane. You just know that it's stupid to jump out of the plane.
It's stupid. Why would I tempt fate? I'm 300 pounds. Gravity always wins. Eventually, if I jump out of the plane enough, I'm dead. It could be the first time. It could be the 10th time. I don't know. I'm just not going to do it. What a stupid idea. I think you guys are all idiots. We're not meant to fly. Just stay on the ground. You're fine.
That's the story? Is the story you were telling somebody that?
Oh, no. I was just, so what just happened is we were talking about bungee jumping, and it's the same, in my same argument. They're like, well, it's safe. I'm like, nothing is safe. First of all, it's a line that you don't know how many times has it been jumped on, right? What's the stress test on this road? You don't know. You don't know anything. Why would you want to jump off of it with the chance of you dying? That's stupid.
Why are you going to trust these guys that go home every night after harnessing people up and get so stoned out of their minds they can't see, right? It's not like these guys are bungee scientists that go
right. They're not testing the elasticity. Are there any breaks in the fibers? Like, they don't give a shit. They're just there to just do their job. All right, jump. Okay, next jump. They don't care. I care. It's stupid. I'm not scared to do the falling. I just think there's a chance that I'm going to die, and I like to live. So it's dumb.
So that's your organizing principle: is play the odds.
Play
don't
the
be
odds.
Stupid.
Yeah, why not? I think it's worked out pretty well so far.
my organizing principle is
Yeah.
I want to be amused and enjoy myself. That's my
that
organizing
sounds
principle.
right. Yeah, that sounds
And I mean,
exactly
you know,
right.
we all have a percentage of fear in our, you know,
Of
in
course,
the mix.
of course. Yes,
But it's like I'm looking for exactly what it is that I want to do, which is, you know,
100%.
be amused and laugh at things.
Would like to be amused, please.
So, and these kids in this movie are organizing principle is nothing because there's nothing.
They don't have one. They don't have one because they're all idiots.
Okay. Have you seen anything? Have Jay call me?
Oh, this is the part where it's been 3 days, they said. I haven't seen anything. It's been 3 days, but they were at the cabin for 1 days.
So she's back home. She's swimming. Pervy kids, probably the pervy kids are still about.
Probably.
Da, 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 da. Then one night she's like looking out the window and she sees Greg climbing in Greg's window, breaks the window, climbs in the window, runs out of the house, runs over there, runs adjacent to his thing. There's the monster as his mom, naked, knocking on the door. And she's like, Greg, don't open the door. Don't open the door, Greg. Greg, don't open the door. And Greg's like, what is it, Mom?
I'm going to open the door immediately.
And what does Mom do to him, Tony?
She fucks the shit out of him. So Dan, full disclosure, this is the best part of the movie. This is hands down the best part of the movie. She's
really
smoking
weird.
hot. She's smoking hot, Mom. She's got one boobie out. Best boobie in the movie. He opens the door. She lunges on him, and she's just grinding him. Just humping him to death. And I was like, if I had to go out, I think that's what I would pick. If I had to pick one way.
You want to die with a monster polymorphed into your mom, sexing you to death?
Hold on, no, not my mom. No, don't twist this. Don't twist this. Not my mom.
His mom?
Greg's mom. Yeah, Greg's mom.
But that's not the thing. It's his own mom. It's terrifying. That's horrible.
But they're not really related, Dan. It's a movie, so he's having a good time. I'll tell you.
Tony. That's not. We're talking about the movie. It's a character. That's his mom. That's horrifying. That's a horrible way to die.
It's horrifying, but it's awesome. You ever seen the movie Species? Remember that movie?
Natasha Henstridge?
Yes, sir.
She was very, very attractive.
That's.
Oh, she sexes you to death, doesn't she?
She sexes you to death, yes, sir. So my top 3 moments of film: Species.
Wait, hold on. These are your top 3 moments of all film through the ages?
Yeah. Species.
Okay. What do you mean? Hold on. What part of Species? Is there like
all of Species?
When every time she has sex,
every time.
This is
every
like Tony's dream.
Yeah. These are my fantasy. Species, and then James Bond. I think is it GoldenEye, where Famke Janssen like squeezes the man with her thighs to death. That's one of them. And then this movie, Greg's mom.
Hold on, you're joking, right?
Best way to die.
Oh,
my three best ways to die in movie history. Not like if I could pick in all of movie history, if I had to die, it would be one of those 3 ways. Greg's mom, Species,
Famke Janssen's incredible
her thighs of power. Yep. Anyhow.
You are so weird.
I'm gonna get canceled.
Because you're weird?
Isn't that why that happens sometimes? People don't understand. No. Wait, people don't like what they don't understand. But I think people understand where I'm coming from, Dad. I think you'd be surprised. Species got a bunch of sequels. Obviously, other people enjoyed it, not just me.
People dug that shit. And there's all this weird white fluid.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought for a second like maybe she was also peeing, but I don't know, man. It's all weird.
I didn't watch it again, but it seemed like it was on her arms too. So there's like a whole weird thing going on with that.
I don't know. I didn't get it, but you're right. The situation's scary.
So she drives off crying until she gets tired of crying, and then she stops the car, looks around, and then sleeps on the hood of the car.
On the hood. Why are you out in an exposed area then?
Oh,
Why-
so we could see her sleeping on a hood.
Again, I understand why the filmmakers are making this choice. I said I don't understand why the characters make it, because that's what this movie does to me, is that the filmmakers make these choices. The characters don't make the choices. The filmmakers are making these choices.
It's
Why
true.
is the girl in the beginning sitting outside? Why is this girl sitting outside? Go inside somewhere. Lock yourself somewhere where it has an obstacle so you know that it's coming. Stupid. I wish she would have just gotten torn apart right on the hood.
Okay. In the morning, she
Okay.
drives to the
Okay.
lake. She sees a boat with some dudes. Then once again, into the water with her cast. We're guessing she's going to swim out to the boat and have sex with all those dudes.
And then does she or does she not?
We'll never know.
Okay, so I'm confused, and I feel like it does matter, but I don't know the answer.
Would have been a good movie if she said, I bought us some time. Because that's what a movie would
Great.
say. A movie would say, I
100%.
bought us some
Yep.
time.
And then it would come into question, like if she has sex with 4 dudes at the same time, do they all get the monster? Does only the one that, entered first get the monster? What are the rules?
What are the rules?
Are the rules? I don't know. But instead, we just, I don't know what we do. I don't, maybe they're all dead. I have no idea.
I was going to say something controversial, but I'm not going to say,
Say
it.
it. Say it. No, say it.
No, I'm not going to say it.
Oh, you're a disappointment.
Okay, I'm going to say it. I'm not going to say it.
What?
Yeah, I'm not going to say it.
All right. Boy, the audience is going to be on pins and needles.
So then he goes home, and then Paul's like, okay, I'm going to take it on. And then, why'd you pick Greg? And then she's like, why did she say when he asked her why
I
she
thought
picked her?
he'd be okay.
What does that mean?
It doesn't mean anything, because why would you think that? Why would you ever? He doesn't even believe it. In what world would he be okay? He'd be the first one to die because he has no idea. He's not looking for it. He's not protecting himself. He's doing nothing. He's dead.
Paul goes in for the kiss, and he's like, I want to help. And then he's like, do you trust me?
And
And then-
apparently, not really.
Then we begin the big plan. We pack everybody up. Girl with the glasses gets the monologue where we walk to the point of, we walk to Act 3.
So weird. It's so weird.
So as they're walking to Act 3, we see a naked man on the roof, who I like to call Big Bushman.
Big Bushman. I like it. I don't know why he's there, why he's not moving, but it's great.
I mean, he should just jump down. Ah!
Great. Or moved. Should have
No.
moved at least 1 inch. He didn't.
Maybe he's recharging his batteries.
Yes. He's plugged in. He's like a hybrid. Got to plug in.
So she monologues all the way to the suburbs about how the suburbs, and we couldn't go to the city, and now we're going to the city, and it's going to
Yeah,
be
what is
the
this
city.
about? Is
I
it
don't
about
know.
gentrification? Is it about what are you talking about, lady?
Whenever I write, I always write in my own monologues every once in a while. And you know what they are? They're
Sure.
diatribes about things I care about. Points I want to
100%.
make about life. Like how
Yeah.
I see the world.
I get it. But does this come across as one of those?
Nope.
Okay. Just
So there's
checking. I
this
thought
big-
you were comparing it. All right.
Big building behind a fence. There's a pool. And they're like, how much time we're going to have? And they're saying hours, I bet. And what we're
But
going to
no
do
one
is
does any math.
we're going to electrocute the creature. And so what we do is we have all these extension cords, and we have IBM Selectric typewriters. We have, do you know what an IBM Selectric typewriter is?
No, I mean it's a typewriter. So
You know what an old typewriter is, where it's like all the different the fan of keys.
ching,
Right?
ching, ching, ching.
But what the
Yep.
Selectric was this little computerized ball that had all the letters on this little ball, and then it
Wait,
would
what?
decide. So if you push H, it would go boop, and it would orient just to the H, and then it would hit, and there'd be like a little, the little thing, and it
Ah.
hit the H. So each time this little computer ball goes
Would move. That's kind of cool.
and it, it's much faster, but it's a very
Sure.
particular thing called the Selectric.
Okay. Selectric. I
So
like
they've got like TVs, they've got irons. These 4 little people have walked for
These
miles
poor little people.
with
Yep.
televisions and irons and
But they didn't. Because we
all that
kind of
stuff was
saw
there?
them. No,
Did
I'm
they
just saying
steal
we
it from
kind of
the
saw
building?
them walk, right?
Yeah.
Like we saw shots of them walking. They weren't carrying that shit. I don't know where it came from, Dan.
They had like
I'm
a
just saying
little,
they
they had a
didn't
little
bring it.
cart. They had a little cart.
Yeah, a little tiny one. There's 25 things around this giant pool.
Talk about the extension cords, Tony.
I mean, first of all, they must be very long. So here's the thing: is once it's unplugged, it doesn't really matter, right? So it has to stay plugged in. I don't know. I don't understand the plan. Aren't they? And some of them are protected even. So I don't understand the plan. I don't know.
I didn't look it up about how you kill somebody by throwing a thing into the water.
Sure. Why would you?
And I think if you were to throw a toaster in a pool that's like, I mean, this is not just an Olympic pool. This thing's
It's a big pool.
it's a huge pool. It's
Is
like
it going to electrify all of the water?
we'll have to look that up.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I don't think that would kill you. I really don't think it would kill you.
So let's say it does electrify all the water. The current doesn't like multiply, right? So I mean, it would be spread out throughout the pool, I have to imagine. So it'd be diluted. I mean, I don't know.
Because usually you do it in a bathtub.
Yeah, and not on purpose.
No. So that's their plan. Their plan is that
Their
since
plan
this
is
thing
stupid.
walks in the thing, it's going to walk into the pool. She's going to get out the other side of the pool, and then they're going to push all these things in there. Why they have to have 100 of them, who knows? But they're going to push all these things in there and electrocute the monster.
Now, this plan, what is it based on, Dan? At what point did we see electricity hurt it?
Never.
Oh, okay. So this is just a shot in the dark. Got it. So dumb.
The other thing is, this pool is immaculately maintained
I mean,
in this seemingly
dumpiest
abandoned building behind fences.
Yes.
I mean, this pool is like, it is gorgeous.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful pool. Yeah.
Like
no.
water right to the brim, like perfect amount of water.
And
in
crystal
this baby.
clear. The lining is totally clear. There's no smudges. It's a beautiful pool.
If this pool was real, there would be feces in it. There would be a homeless encampment in here. Not real.
It would be Jennifer's Body. Do you remember that movie at all? We
Never
just
saw-
rewatched
never-
that this
never-
week.
Never saw that.
They
movie.
go to an abandoned pool and it's disgusting. The water's green. It's got shit growing in it. It's perfect. That's what this would be in that building. Idiots.
So the monster shows up, and instead of walking in there, it starts now picking up the appliances and throwing them at her.
Which is pretty funny. I
It's
laughed
pretty funny.
pretty hard.
It's pretty funny. It's very
I don't
funny.
think we're supposed to laugh, but I was laughing very hard.
And then they start shooting at it and doing stuff, and eventually they shoot it in the head a couple of times and push it into the pool, and then a big red bloom happens, and so it's dead.
You really skipped over a lot of stuff there, but that's the gist of the terrible ending.
Was
yeah.
there anything good about the fight?
There's nothing good about almost any of the movie, except for, the part that we already talked about. But here's my problem. My problem is that their last resort is to throw the sheet over the thing, and that should be your first move.
First move.
Make it visible. Know your enemy. Like, I don't know. It's such a bad plan that it's so fake to me. Like, the plan is so bad, it doesn't feel like real people would have thought of it. And I don't know.
It's like, what are you going to do? They're not going to go talk to somebody, so they have to come up with a plan that involves not a gun, because they already did the gun plan. Even though it involves a gun, it kind of has to be a little more than a gun. So what are you going to do? You're going to try and dismember it. It's super strong. You're going to shoot it with a cannon. Like, what else? Electricity or fire or concrete.
I would love to see a cannon. That'd be great.
They're not, Shannon's like, how much concrete would it take to fill up that pool? I'm like,
well, that pool is huge. That's not your best move.
I really thought they were going to go to a smaller pool, get it in the pool, and then it would be like, I can't climb up the sides, and they'd be pushing it down, and then the concrete mixer would be like,
see, that's
slowly it would sink beneath the concrete, and they'd be like, we defeated.
I love that. That's a great plan, Dan. That's not this plan. This is a bad plan.
Blood in the water. They go home. She has sex with Paul.
Yeah. What? Were you getting them liking each other? I got the feeling that she wasn't into it ever.
She's not into him.
So why? Why? I mean, whatever. You could do whatever you want, lady. It just felt weird.
He
Felt forced.
gives her a back rub. Paul cruises ladies of the night. Glasses girl's in the hospital. She reads something.
So did he pass it on to prostitute? Or I mean,
Well,
obviously
we'll
we
never
don't
know.
know if it's real or not. But okay.
And then we're on the street. They're boyfriend and girlfriend, and there's someone following them.
Right. So it does matter to me, at least, because he drove by prostitutes. In my mind, that's him trying to give it to them just in case.
Yep.
Now, if we're supposed to believe that this thing following them is it follows, then it's following him because she's after, or she's before him in line, which means that he just murdered some prostitutes.
No.
Yes.
Well, I mean, that's like saying that, because you ate beef, it contributed to global warming, and then you killed everyone in the future. It's like, no.
No, it's not. That's like if someone's allergic to onions and you give them onions. That's closer to what it is. Because he knows that there's a thing after him. And the only way to spread it is to give to someone else. So he gives it to someone, clearly didn't tell them, and now they're dead, and now it's back to him.
Maybe he gave her like a note, had a note, a signed notary
on the
with
$5 bill. He just wrote, "It's coming."
$5 bill. I guess it is timeless. So prostitutes
It's
only cost
timeless.
$5.
Yeah, so this old West prices. I don't know.
I wrote 2 letters as my review of this movie.
Is it FU, just like my poster?
Close. PU.
Like it stinks. PU.
Yeah, this movie
That's
stinks.
funny.
This movie's pretty terrible.
It's so Dan.
Yeah.
My
feet are cold. Are your feet cold?
No, my feet aren't cold. I mean, it's hot in my office no matter what the temperature is.
It's getting warm in here, but my feet are cold. I probably gotta get socks.
Or better blood flow. You know what I mean? Get some circulation.
When you get old, that happens.
Oh, shit, really?
My feet turn blue sometimes.
Dan, that scares me.
Yeah.
If you need me to come rub them up, I'll do it. It's not sexual. Don't give me that look.
Tony, who knows with you anymore?
I don't like feet. I'll tell you this. That's not one of my things. I'll tell you that unequivocally. It's not feet. I do not like feet. There's a lot of things that I like. It's not feet. Feet is not one of them.
What was this show? Oh, in the House of the Dragon, I guess there's a foot fetish scene. Everyone's
oh
like,
God!
Oh
no! I hate.
Okay. What were you saying?
Tarantino. Ugh, gross.
Oh, she had hot feet though. Yeah, I mean, come on, that girl. She was smoking hot in that scene. You're just like, I get it.
Sure, I get it, but I don't.
If I was
I'm
a
not going to
film
focus on the
director,
feet.
If I was a film director, I'd pay her to do that. That was super pervy, but I was like, okay, if that's power you have. Okay.
I don't get it. I don't get the feet thing. Listen, I'm not passing judgment because I know I also have weird things. I just don't get it.
Really, Tony, gross. You have weird things.
I mean, I don't think they're weird.
You want to die by having sex with Greg's actor mother.
Greg's mom. What's wrong with that? My overarching problem with the film is that it's obviously kind of like a parable to an STD, right?
Yeah, sure.
Except for they're saying spread it. Like the message of the movie is give it to someone else, keep going, keep giving it. It's a confused message to me because in STD you shouldn't be giving it to people.
Well, I mean, you would say that the movie is a question of that. And if you really were making a movie that was about something, you would have the characters express that question. And,
sure, you can
have a wrestle with that moral,
which I think is important. It's an important thing we don't cover. But the problem is that to get rid of it, not get rid of it forever, but to like help alleviate yourself, you have to pass it on. So like there's a benefit to spreading the disease. That's the part where I have a problem with it.
Can you pass it on to animals?
I don't think anyone tried, Dan. I don't know. I don't know what the rules are.
Like, that guy tries to creep up on a horse. Bam! Or a mule. Bam!
Kicked right in the face.
I mean, does it work through artificial insemination?
Oh, hey, that's interesting. Is he going to a sperm bank and giving it to somebody random? Who
If
knows?
I have sex with like a porpoise,
Porpoise.
it swims away.
I mean, I have lots of questions about what is the point at which the disease is spread?
Killer whale.
You know what I mean? Killer whale. Like, you would never.
Can I? Or this guy dude drives down to SeaWorld. He's all like, "What I need you to do is I need you to put some of my sperm
Inside the whale.
inside the sperm whale."
That's all I need. Just do it. Just do it. Here's a 20. Go for it. They're probably fine with it. Those people are messed up.
Anything else to say about this crappy movie?
I've talked enough, I'm sure. People are sick of hearing me whine about this stupid thing.
Okay, now's the point of the show where we talk about something we like this week. New season of The Sinner on Netflix.
Okay.
Go back and watch the first 3 seasons because they're great. New season's fun. Yeah, we watched a couple episodes and we got more episodes to watch. There's like naked ladies swimming in the ocean and just all sorts of crazy shit.
I just like that. That's the one example you give. Lots of crazy shit. There's people swimming in the ocean.
Naked ladies swimming in the ocean in the middle of the night.
Well, it's dangerous. I'll tell you that. That's how you get drowned. That's how you get disappeared right there.
So Tony wants to do some bonus hate, I think, in his pick of the week. So go ahead, Tony. Give us some bonus hate.
It's that time of year again because I did the same thing last year to that piece of shit movie. My family traveled out from Minnesota. We are big Halloween fans, both the month, the holiday, and of course, the franchise. And we watched Halloween Ends last night, and it is the dumbest movie I've ever seen. Michael Myers, not in the movie. He's got maybe 6 minutes of screen time. I don't want to spoil anything, but just know that it's stupid, it's bad, and it's not a Halloween movie.
So it's like Halloween 3?
I wish it was like Halloween 3 because at least Michael Myers isn't even in that. Like, it's not about Michael Myers. They were like, we're gonna make it about something completely different. But this is the end of a trilogy. They're promoting it as the end of a 40-year adventure, right? Like this versus good versus evil, Jamie versus the monster. 40 years. It's not in the movie. It's the last 8 minutes of the movie, but everything else before that, fucking bullshit. Absolutely dreadful movie. Halloween. It's a dreadful Halloween movie. Honestly, if it's not a Halloween movie, I don't hate it as much. But it's not a Halloween movie, and it's certainly not the epic conclusion of a trilogy about the final showdown between these two characters.
But as a movie, is it better than the last one?
As a movie, it is better than the last one, but that's because the last one's not a movie.
Thumbs up from Tony.
That's not a thumbs up. It's not a thumbs up. It's awful. We had a good time because we laughed a lot at how crazy it is because it's not about the Halloween. It's not about Michael Myers at all.
So is there something you really like this?
There's not something that I watched, but there is something I really, really enjoyed this week. It is called Marvel Snap.
What is that?
It's a new trading TCG mobile game.
Dan, it's on the phone?
Fucking Dan, you should get it. I think you would really enjoy it. There's 3 zones, and you have to win 2 of the 3 zones by placing characters with powers and abilities. And I am obsessed with it. I have played it it came out last week, and I have played it every night, and I'm up like 2-3 hours.
I saw the ads, and I was like, "This looks interesting."
It's
good. Okay, I'm gonna try it.
I think it's very fun. It's better than what's the huge card game? It's not Magic, obviously.
Yu-Gi-Oh?
It's the mobile
Pokemon?
one. No.
Yu-Gi-Oh?
I don't know. I
Pokemon?
can't remember what's.
See Yu-Gi-Oh? It's a Pokemon.
Xenomorphs. I don't know. It's good. It's very fun.
Okay, Marvel Snap. And how much does it cost?
Shot, Dan.
How much does it cost?
It's free. It's totally free. You can buy the battle pass if you want to spend $10, but they're making it so you can play the shit for free legitimately. And then the only things that you can really pay for other than the battle pass are cosmetic upgrades. So you can just make your cards look cooler. but there's no pay to win mechanics whatsoever.
But can I play like Nightcrawler?
You sure can. Nightcrawler's in the game. He teleports between zones. Pretty awesome.
I love Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler's cool.
That's who I wanted to be when I was a kid. Nightcrawler.
You still got time. We can make this happen, Dan.
With the proper cosmetic surgery. So, next week, it was going to be a Torture Tony week, but I was like, poor Tony.
No, I did it to myself.
Going to let him off the hook this time because there's another
That's
movie
very
that just got dropped to Netflix that we've been itching to do for a long time.
We have?
We're
God,
traveling
what is it?
to the Universal Dark Universe. Dracula Untold. Just to cap Halloween, since nothing we've seen has been even like this last. It follows so boring, so
boring.
not scary, so
not at all. There's no tension. There's nothing.
Know, like we sit here and there's movies, and Shannon's like, I want to watch that movie, and I'm like, you can't watch that movie at night because it's a scary movie. She's like, okay, we're gonna have to watch it during the day. Like this movie, she could watch it like midnight, and she'd just be like, "What the fuck is this shit?"
Pitch black. You're not even home, and you're like on vacation somewhere. She's all alone. She could still watch that shit.
So not scary. So we're gonna watch Dracula Untold because it's at least a monster movie. At least it's a monster. We're gonna see somebody be a monster. Maybe it's gonna be terrible.
Maybe.
You've seen it. I know you've seen it, and it's terrible.
I saw this opening night, as I do.
But I want to see it since we've done all the other Dark Universe or Dark Universe adjacent.
I don't remember it. I really don't. I'm trying to think of it right now. It's like I only remember one part of the film, and so I'm excited. I'm excited to get to see this again.
Yeah. So
I remember thinking it was dumb. So I'm excited. Let's do this.
But will it be as dumb as It Follows, or as I mean, that was my final It Follows. Most boring movie I think we've ever done.
I think so too. It was hard to sit through.
Not
really
most painful to watch. Wasn't the most painful to watch movie.
But I was trying to take so many notes. So I was like, I can't do anything on my phone. I want to watch this movie so I can really, really lay into it. So but every once in a while, every like 10 minutes, I was like picking up my phone, be like, no, stop it. You got to watch the film.
I played a lot of solitaire during this movie.
I get it. There's nothing
and
happening.
I really thought it was Paul that had sex with her and not Greg. I was like, oh, Paul, you getting in there. And then they're like, next scene, you're like, wait, Greg? Oh, that was the other thing they set up is then you were like, oh, so Paul's going to be pissed off at Greg and he's going to say something. Yeah. Nope. Nothing happens.
Two people should have been upset that they slept together. The sister who likes Greg and Paul who likes the main girl. Neither of them cared. Nobody cared at all.
Nobody cared about anything. Barely even cared about their own stupid lives.
It's the worst. It's a dumb movie.
And that was I guess that's the other thing we have to talk about is the critics love this movie. And you're like, how dumb can you be?
Super dumb. That's my answer. They should all be fired. Every single one of them should be fired, except for the 4% that didn't like it.
And then you read even though it's like 66 audience, you read all the audience and they're all just like, what the hell is this? Who are these people that like this movie?
I think they're all bots, man.
I think there's a lot of bots that gave this a positive review too.
Yeah, I don't know. It's bizarre. I don't know how this became a critical darling. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for the industry.
So, if you like our show, leave us a comment, leave us a thumbs up, maybe subscribe. And next week, we're going to be back talking about Dracula Untold for our final post-Halloween haunt.
Woo! Bye, everybody!